What's going on, Mavericks fans? Welcome into another episode of Mavs Latest. I'm your host, Cody Brusso. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, whether it's your first time, your next time. Make sure it's not your last time here at Mavs Latest. And also, if you do get a chance, hit that like button down below. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the Mavericks going down to Mexico to play the 34th game in Mexico for the NBA. We're also going to be talking about the draft picks, or at least lack thereof, for the Mavericks coming up in the next couple of years. Potential starting five for the Mavericks, especially with our three-headed monster sitting on the sidelines, as well as something we're going to be doing called Mavs Up or Mavs Down. All that and more coming up next. CDMX in Mexico City will play host to the 34th game of NBA basketball played in Mexico since 1992. This event will coincide with the Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead celebration, going on down there, and it'll actually feature a specially themed NBA basketball court. This, of course, will be the 8th time for the Dallas Mavericks to be playing down there, and the 3rd for the Detroit Pistons. This game will end up making the Dallas Mavericks the most team with the most plays, I guess I should say, games down in Mexico. And if you are thinking about tuning in and catching it, make sure you have Peacock, the subscription to that, because that is the only way to be able to watch this one. This one is actually exclusive there to Peacock. Of course, the Mavericks will have to put out a different starting five than what we've been seeing, as unfortunately AD, it's looking like he may miss the game on Saturday. Derek Lively as well. All eyes on Gafford to see if he's going to be coming back. This was a sprained ankle that has now been carrying on, and you almost start to wonder, is there more there to this than just a sprained ankle? Of course, we've talked about it in previous episodes, and I've talked about it on other podcasts. The generational fumbles that have been going on from Nico Harrison, especially since Cuban has sold the team, unfortunately relieving Casey of his duties there as the head trainer for the Mavericks. One of the big fumbles, as he went on to the New York Knicks, and the Knicks actually ended up with the voted on best training staff in the league last year, of course, led by him. On the flip side, Dallas Mavericks, we've talked about it so many times already, the injuries and the injury reports just don't match up. And you just got to think, man, we need to hold Nico accountable for this, and we need to hold the training staff accountable for this. We'll say it until we're blue in the face. Hopefully, eventually, man, something is going to break in the head of the new ownership group and the new CEO, and they will be like, hey, you know what? The fans are right. But until then, we're going to just have to deal with it, roll with it. Nico's going to continue to put his people in positions, even though it's not going to be what's best for the Maverick organization. But the starting five, in my head, do you still start Powell? I think you have to. Size-wise, Dwight Powell will end up being the starter if Gafford does not play, if Lively and AD do not play. But could we see Cisse actually come in and play some minutes for the first time? Some actual real minutes in the NBA for the first time there in Mexico City. I actually wouldn't mind it. He is somebody that I think defensively would do a great job for us. We just struggle so much offensively, and unfortunately that's just going to continue to be something, especially with Cisse out there. I just don't think he has that offensive game, that offensive mindset just yet that we need from a big man. And Kidd still not wavering. It's not looking like we're going to see any signs of point flag going away. even though all the statistics do say that once we have either B. Will or D'Lo out there manning the offense, running the point, our team just flows so much better. And if you think about it too, we're supposed to be this great transition team. We're actually ranked 29th right now on once we grab a rebound and go down to try and score, get a steal and try and score. We're actually ranked 29th. So we're bottom of the league. And the one thing that we said, hey, look, we know we can't really set up and run a half-court offense with Kyrie out, but we can do this. Turns out we're 29th in the league at doing the one thing we said was going to save our season. So we have to have somebody like B. Will or D'Lo who's going to try and create something with the offense, try and get their bucket, and also try and set other guys up. And this is not a slight on Cooper Flagg. Y'all already know I'm all in on Flagg. I think he's going to be the next cornerstone piece for this franchise. That's just not going to happen at point guard. He is a great small forward right now. He is a Swiss Army knife. He can do a lot of things good, nothing just absolutely dominant, absolutely great. But that's exactly what we need from an 18-year-old rookie who's still going to be putting on muscle, still going to be growing a little bit, still going to be wrapping his head mentally around the game. So I'm not worried at all about Cooper Flagg, but just as this team right now, we'll say it until we're blue in the face. We'll say it until we're Mavs blue. We need an actual point guard out there running it. This does also go into who do we play at shooting guard then? Because Klay Thompson needs a legitimate point guard setting him up. He is not a go out and create, especially at this point in his career. So far, Klay Thompson, 5 points, 8 points, 10 points, 8 points, 10 points. Those are his stats so far through the first 5 games. And shooting, I'm sorry I don't have the number right in front of me, but I want to say it's 28%. If that's a little high, I do apologize. But I want to say it's around 28%, which is the lowest, I believe, of his career. And Klay generally is a slow starter who does get hot as the season goes on. But even this is the lowest that we've seen Klay start in his Hall of Fame career. So you have to wonder, is it time for Max Christie to come in and start for Klay Thompson? Or if you do want to continue to run Flagg at the point, do you put D'Lo or B. Will at shooting guard and let Flagg and the shooting guard, let them both kind of operate the point, take turns running the point? But either way, something's got to give. We have to start looking at these numbers, unless there's been rumors that something in the contract prevents Klay from coming off the bench. He's a guaranteed starter. That is a rumor out there. Nothing has been confirmed on that. Could I see Klay putting that in? I don't know. I think Klay just wants to win. So if that meant him coming off the bench so that they could win. But we could see PJ Washington, of course, slide up to the power forward spot. Sorry, guys. I am a little bit under the weather. But PJ, of course, sliding up to the power forward spot. We may see Klay just move up to the small forward. But, again, we'll have to wait and see. We'll find out tomorrow. Of course, today being the travel day, when they went down to Mexico City, they'll release kind of who's practicing, who's questionable, and everything like that tomorrow. This is the next thing. If AD is out, at what point do we just chalk this season? If we're the All-Star game and it's looked like we're trying to battle for that very last play-in position, do we pump the brakes and say, hold on, let's maybe not try for that last play-in because we know That's going to hurt our draft. Because here's the thing, guys. 2026, this year, we have our draft pick. We have our first round draft pick. 2027, it's top 2 protected. So 3rd and up, we lose it. Charlotte gets it. 2028, Oklahoma City has the right to swap with us. So even if we suck and they go on and say they win the NBA championship again, they can choose to swap with us, and we could end up with the last pick in the draft, and they could end up with the first if we flop again. 2029, Houston or Brooklyn hold the swap rights with us depending on where we end up in the draft. 2030, San Antonio may hold the swap rights, depending on how it ends up. So we will not see our first round pick potentially until 2031. So this might be, if we are struggling, if Kyrie is not going to come back till next year, if AD continues to be hurt, if the other 2 big men continue to be injury prone and not coming back, just let Cooper Flagg have his rookie year. And unfortunately, it's going to be a year to forget. We can utilize our last final year to legitimately have a number 1 pick, or a first round pick rather. I hate to do that to players on this team, but that is something that down the line we may have to look at. We'll cross that bridge, I guess, when we get there, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't stuff I was already thinking about. So for this final section, we're going to introduce something that we're going to try and start doing here weekly, called Mavs Up, Mavs Down. One of the things that we saw out on Twitter was somebody saying that B-Will should actually get the start over D'Lo, and they feel like Brandon Williams is actually a better player than D'Angelo Russell. I personally give that a Mavs down. I think D'Lo should be the starter. I think his passing and his ability to help set other people's up, and also the statistics, we do show that we are a better team with D'Lo running that offense. But let me know what you think, guys. Mavs up, Mavs down on B-Will over D'Lo. Another one would be Klay Thompson going to the bench. That's another one. We just talked about it a little bit ago. It's all over Twitter. Klay Thompson going to the bench and Max Christie taking a spot as the starter. I'm actually Mavs up on that. I do think Klay would be a great addition coming off the bench. And really, especially if J Kidd is going to be doing the thing where he's still doing the point flag thing. So Klay needs to have that setup man. So let him come off with D'Lo or Brandon Williams and actually have a true point guard. Then he needs to come off the bench with a actual point guard. Otherwise, he's going to continue to be a non-factor. Mavs up, Mavs down on another one that I saw, that the Mavericks should actually package AD and already move on from the AD experience. I would actually say Mavs down on that one. AD right now is the leading scorer for our team. He is currently averaging 21 points. He is the leading rebound at 10 rebounds and the leading steals at 1.6, so 2 steals per game. The other thing is teams are looking at Anthony Davis and seeing how many injuries he is taking on. So could you really get the return that you want for AD? And let's face it, man, we gave up Luka for AD. So who could we trade AD for that could equate to Luka? Our best bet, unfortunately, is to ride it out, see what's up, and see what we can do. But if you guys have any hot takes, remember we're going to be doing Fanfare Fridays, or if there's any Mavs up, Mavs down takes that you want us to talk about, throw those down in the comments as well. Fanfare Friday starts next week, so you have from today all the way until Thursday to get in your hot takes. Drop them down in the comments, and we're going to talk about them next Friday on that episode of Mavs Latest. Until then, guys, I'm Cody Brusso. We will see you tomorrow with the preview of Mavericks versus Pistons. Until then, guys, peace.